Minchinhampton's a relatively small old market town. I think it's a village actually, but I was really slapped when I called it a village once. It's most definitely a town. It's in some document from the early 1900s. But it's a defined community, and in recent months we've had quite an issue in our community because the local post office has closed down. The reason it's closed down is not because of national post office closing it down, but because the premises were no longer available for the post office to meet there. So the national post office wanted there to be a post office in Minchinhampton, but there were no premises available. So as a church, we were sort of scratching our head about this. We're not in the best location in the centre of the town, but we did have some space in our buildings that we wanted to see whether it was appropriate to explore for the post office to be housed in those premises.
What was the outcome?
Well, we spent quite a bit of time as a leadership team trying to talk to people in the community, talking among ourselves, trying to seek God, and as a wider church then, to seek God, to kind of try and hear whether it was right for us to step out in this way. We wanted to do something to engage the community and to support the community. Ours is a community where if a post office is taken away from it, younger people who are still working and so on probably wouldn't feel the pinch of that too much because they're mobile, they have internet access, they can get their services elsewhere. But really, we felt it would have been the elderly or the marginalised of the society who would have missed out. So as a church, we felt compelled by the gospel to do something to try and help our community. So we agonise as a church. The reason we agonise is because we don't have very grand premises at Minchinhampton Baptist Church. And so if there was a room that was available, it would have been one of our main meeting rooms downstairs, one of our main auxiliary rooms, or the main auxiliary room. And in the end, at a church meeting, as we do as Baptists, we talked and we debated and we prayed and we tried to listen, and we decided that we would offer this room to the person who had been designated by the post office as the sub-postmaster for him to come and use. And actually, one of our church members had already stepped out in faith. And let me tell you this, to set up a post office from scratch, it costs in the region of £30,000, believe it or not. There's all sorts of on-costs, and one of the big costs in setting up a post office is about half of that amount, £15,000, for all of the official post office counter and all security glass and all those fixtures and fittings. And generally you can only buy them new from the post office at £15,000. One of our church members had seen one of these counters on eBay. and a few weeks before, he had stepped out in faith and he purchased this, and a few of us from the church said, well, we'll support you in that. And he got it for a few £100 from Glasgow city centre. So we never thought anything good came out of Scotland, did we? Anyway, Steve had gone and he collected this, and it sat in his garage for a little while, and actually, lo and behold, it fitted perfectly into this room. And so we were full steam ahead with offering our church facilities for the community to use this room as a post office.
And then what happened?
And then the sub-postmaster did find a much better location in the centre of the town, which did kind of leave us with some of those questions, actually, really. But what we found was this. We found that there were two really significant benefits for us as a church in going through that process. One was that we'd sought to follow God and try to follow his lead and try and keep up with what we felt he was doing with us. And actually, as a church, we'd gone through the process of saying, are we prepared to sacrifice something for our community? And we'd made a positive decision about that. So it had affected us, the process had really affected us as a church. And the second benefit that we felt, and we still feel exists, is that the community in Minchinhampton now know that there is a Baptist church that's bothered about them and wants to be involved in their lives and wants to make a difference. And so it's a wrong terminology, but you'll understand if I say that it's been a good PR exercise for the church. It's poor terminology, but it helps people understand that we're bothered about them and we're committed to them.
Thank you. Thank you very much.